the global pandemic of COVID-19, life was busy, all right? I was on a plane every month or every 2 months going to different locations, particularly in Africa, to moderate events, to MC events. So business was good, in that regard. So it was travel. And I miss being on an airplane. It was also local travel. So for example, to Victoria Falls, depending on whatever conference is happening there. So that's really how I moved around. And a lot of my work was out of studio, out of office. I was never really glued to a desk. So that transition has been very, very difficult, because life before this was colorful. It was engagement. It was interaction. It was seeing the world. It was growing. It was connectivity. So that's lacking, and a huge, huge part of me deeply misses that. The challenges that I faced during this global pandemic have been many. Like most of us, it has been, I'll start with the obvious, right? Which is financial. This hasn't been an impact on all of us, regardless of what industry you're in or what sector you're part of. This has been a big blow for all of us. As I said, part of my work involves travel. It involves events. It involves people coming together. Now, when people are not able to do that, that's going to have an impact. So we've got events cancelled indefinitely, perhaps until 2021 sometime. So the question is, when will business get back in motion? So the only thing you can do is adapt or die. You just then evolve and find other platforms, particularly the digital spaces, to now occupy more deliberately. And then on an individual level, it has been challenging in that, you are forced to spend time with yourself, where someone like me already has me time allocated to them. Before the pandemic, I already knew that mornings, I've got my me time. Weekends, I set aside a day where I'm just doing what I need to do. And now this is by force, and I've got 7 days of those in a week to do just that. So it's a lot of adapting, it's a lot of adjusting. So see, the world of communication has grown, right? Weird as this sounds. Yes, okay, I talk of communication in terms of events, in terms of, traveling a lot, but there's also communication, which is generally getting a piece of information from point A to point B. And this is what has grown. The space has grown so much because now people, especially corporates and companies and government, are forced to use digital spaces to communicate. The radio is still working. Television is still working. Our mobile phones, which is our first screen of contact, is still working. If not, people are using their devices and their gadgets now more than ever before. So communications is booming right now. And people that are not in the sector are already penetrating the sector. So you find that the cake is still big, but now the slices are getting smaller and smaller because people are coming into that space. So happy to share it, and happy to find a niche and say, all right, what is it that I can position myself in? What have I specialized in over these years? What can I target? So you'll find a lot of these corporates especially are now saying, all right, how do we communicate with our customers and our clients? Let's use this platform. Let's use mobile phones. Let's use social media platforms. That engagement is, most of us, one of the biggest, and I say one of the most expensive commodities, the most valuable commodities now is data, right? You need to be able to be connected. If you don't have a data connectivity, you're literally disconnected from the world more than just being isolated at home. So that window to the world is now a device. So communications is going to grow exponentially in the next couple of months and the next couple of years. So we talk of the new normal. The way I see it, the world was never normal. So we actually are just in a new world order. We have been in a world that has been plagued with so many things, from pandemics to wars to injustices. So we can't talk of a new normal. What we've just been forced to do is adjust, all right? So I would say that the evolution of the world is something that people need to embrace, and I don't think it's going to be difficult. When you're dealing with life and death, when you have to protect yourself and your loved ones or die, it's not difficult to communicate this to the world, which is why there's been so much compliance when it comes to, social distancing, mask wearing, and lack of travel. So this is something that has been easy for the human race to accept. We thought it wouldn't last long, but there's some countries that have been at this now for 4 months plus. And it is something that we are all going to understand, that there's no other way to survive. Humankind has now changed. The entire human race has evolved. So, this new normal, it's not optional whether you're going to become part of it or not. It's just a new world order, because really, what's normal? Whatever the government has said in whichever country you're in, adhere to that, in the sense that you're playing your role as a citizen to be responsible and to teach those around you to do the same. It's almost like littering. Don't do it, because the car behind you is going to see it, right? And it affects the environment. So what we need to do is focus on ourselves and internally make sure we stay strong, because we are going to come through this, and when we do, we need to come out of it alive. And we need to make sure that we are stronger than we were when we went in, and tell these stories and pass them down to generations. We read of the Spanish flu now, right? We know these things have happened in the world. We are not the first, and we will not be the last.